To Pro No Coders Office Hours, episode 324. Today, I am with Yash and Tanya, and I, your host, Cameron, am here for all of your bubble questions, bugs, features, requests, whatever it may be. We're here to help you out. We can't guarantee answers, but we do promise you will not suffer alone at the very least. Now, with that, Yash, you are with us here. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, so I'm currently working on a project that requires me to create a kind of a Trello board with being able to drag and drop items from one category to another. I have used the draggable elements plugin before, and I was able to use that to reorder the list. But I tried few times in earlier projects too. I wasn't able to move it from, one category to another category. Maybe because of the way how I designed the structure, but I couldn't. I wasn't able to figure it out how to make it work. And currently, I don't have anything prepared. So you could, if you can, you could create a page and show me.
Yeah, we'll try our hardest here. So we're doing the drag and drop. We actually do currently have that installed. So we have the drag drop group and then the drop area. So we can have two areas here. We'll call this category 1 and then category 2. I guess we'll be dropping. Let's see. So the way that we have it set up, we have like a bunch of dummy data I suppose we could use. Now the thing is, we're supposed to be dragging. I don't think dummies have any. They have cart items. How many cart items? We have one cart item belonging to one particular user. So I suppose we could try to use cart items as the data thing that we're dragging.
All right.
The first item of this list. And it's making sure that it's a first.
So what I'm basically trying to achieve is once you drag and drop to a certain group, the status of that card that you dropped is going to change to what you have dropped. It's like as it happens in Trello, from pending to done to all that stuff. I hope.
Okay. Yeah. So the only thing that I'm confused here, I haven't used this a whole bunch. The data source, we would just say that it is the cart items and it is looking for, let's see, I think a cart basket would contain the cart items, but that's probably not what we're looking to do. We'll follow what it's saying and take the first item. We'll see. Sort of experimenting here.
Yeah.
Alexandria has joined us. Yes, this is 4 rows. I don't like how that's working. Why? There we go. No one hears what's going on in the background. Okay, so we're just looking at the first item, though. I'm fairly certain we won't see a repeating group the way that we want to see it. Let's take a look, though. Oh, okay, that does work. Uncertain of the data source. Let's see what we have here in this list shifter, this drag and drop.
I did it again.
That's all right. I think this is our drop area, or this is our drag me item, and then we're dropping it back here. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make the drop item. We're gonna change this up just a little bit, where instead this drop area is going to exist inside the repeating group. And it is. There we go. Okay, so now our Drop item. Let's open this up in the element tree. So we have the drop area. We're going to make this instead the current cell's cart item. Okay, so the idea here is what we're trying to do. We should be able to change the status. So let's go ahead and say, well, actually, we'll do one that's pending. Oops, did not mean to do that. So we'll have one that's pending, and then let's say one that's sold. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of all of that, and we're going to copy this repeating group. I should not be doing this in this engine. Excuse me, I'm trying to move you with my arrow keys. Wow, fun. Okay. So I guess here for this, what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to add a data type to our cart item. So let's say sold is a yes or a no. And for the items, we're going to at least have one that's a yes and two that are no. Because this is equivalent to completed or pending on your end. So for here, we'll have sold equals no. We're just refining our repeating group. And then similarly, we're going to have, this should be sold equals yes. And so the idea here is when we drag, I have not done what I've needed to do with this. This is the drag area.
Yeah.
I need to add or that was the drop area. I need to add a drag area. The type of content is going to be the cart item. The data source is the parent group's cart item, because the parent group's cart item is just the current cell's cart item. And then we will put its item here. So everything that I did over here, I'm just going to copy this again. Change what we're searching for. Okay, so we should be able to drag this. And what we should do with this particular drag element, and we should, when we make this element droppable, it should move back if it's not in a droppable area. And that is what we should be expecting here.
Yeah.
So now we have at least dragging capability for this repeating group. So now what we want to do is we want to say when it's over a drop area, go ahead and add itself, basically.
Exactly. What I did in the past is I'd set this up, but one issue that I was facing was I wasn't able to drag the element outside the repeating group, but now I can see it's happening. Can you specify the reason why? Because I didn't see some different changes.
Yeah, definitely. Let me go ahead and actually set this as a fixed number of cells. Hoping we can get rid of this this bar. Okay, yep, looks a bit nicer now. And then I guess another thing that we could do is probably change the way that we're searching for this repeating group. So every single cell has a drop area. But okay, so to show you what I've done, at least initially, to allow it to drag. So we have this is the draggable element here. It's inside the droppable area that it exists in. Because in theory, we should be able to drag something to that droppable area and change the way that it looks at itself. It should like shift the list, right? Yeah. So what we've done is we've made this element droppable. We've just selected this checkbox down here, and behavior post drop is going to be moved back. So that would be if we drag this and it's not in a droppable area, you see here how it moves back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, even in the same instance, it is moving back. But if we didn't have that selection and we just dropped it, then
Yeah.
it would stay out of frame. So we're going to we'll try something out. We'll try this where we are going to, a drop area has a group dropped on it. And we will take, these are awfully named, drop category 1. Let's say drop category pending.
Yeah.
Now let's change this to sold. So if we're dragging the pending, or let's start with, if something is dragged onto the sold, what we're going to do, we're going to make changes to the current, would it be current cells? No, it wouldn't be current cells. It'd be, we're looking for the workflow, the current workflows. Let's try this out though. I am curious.
Yeah.
This, we're specifying that it's being dragged. So let's do a step-by-step and see what happens here. So we dragging, this would be line item 0 over here.
Yeah.
This drop area's cart item is line item 2. So we're not changing actually anything here. Again, we are looking for current. So we're looking for the current workflows custom brands. So perhaps what we can do, we could set the state. I wonder if this will give us that option. Set the state of the page. We'll say it's an item that's been dragged. Let's see if we can make it a particular cart item that has been dragged. Current cells, this drop area, current cells cart item. I think
the draggable elements plugin gives us 2 workflows to trigger. One is, I think you would get the current workflows item in the second workflow. The other one that it has, if I'm not wrong.
that'd be able to plug in here. Move a draggable group, move a draggable group. So we have to drag and drop, it looks like. But in order. Good night. I'll talk to you. I'll see you later, dude. All right, little dude had to come and let us know he's going to bed.
Oh,
Very cute, very
it's
cute.
fun meeting Dean earlier.
Yeah, I'm glad that he was, I mean, he was awesome. I think that that was the best set of circumstances. Now, what is weird, so if I look at my shifter here, so I've been playing around with it a little bit, right? So I know that we can make a change to the brand, and we can make a change to another thing here, and then this gives us the custom workflow, current workflow. Yeah, so the value is set. We're able to look at it. So when a drop me area has a group dragged on it. So if we go back here, so when a group is dropped on it, this is important. There we go. So we actually can probably get rid of that. What I had done just there is I had to specify what type of thing it was.
Oh yeah.
So I've specified now, and now it knows what thing it is. So we should be able to drag this pending group onto the sold group here. Let's do a step-by-step. So 0 should be a sold item. And then we see it. That's exactly what ended up happening. That's not good. That should not have happened. Where looks like everything. Things to change, current sold, custom cart. Yeah. So why did both? Let's refresh this. Well, it's even weirder. So this is the way that it was. That is what it was. And then this sold as no could be a visual bug. Let's try that again. So it looks like it worked, but didn't really do it exactly how we wanted it to. So this time I'm going to take line item 1 and I'm going to drag it on over to 2. It shows me here in my step-by-step that we're making a change to the current workflow's custom cart, which would be the item that we just dragged, item number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think that was just a weird little bug that we encountered. But
Yeah.
this, and then of course, what we'd do is we would flip this around. And then we would just say no. So we're doing the complete opposite here. We're doing the item category sold. And then if it's dragged, now it's sold. And then the opposite, category pending. If it's dragged to the pending, it'll be marked as pending. So if we refresh our page and then take this, and so I'm taking the second line item.
Yeah.
Sweet. And it's looking good there. So if we go ahead, I am curious though. So the way that I've done this is that I have set up my draggable group or my droppable area rather inside my repeating group. So if I make it like this, we can, if I drag this over here, we can expect sold to be completely blanked out, right? So it works, but now we can't drop our items back to this board.
Yeah.
I'm thinking one of the ways that we could probably do this I'm sure there's a very easy way to do it. I know Tanya's already thought of it, but the idea here is that we'll have this repeating group constantly full, or at least constantly have certain elements showing. And I wonder if we can somehow trick it.
Can you explain it to me again, what's happening?
Yeah, we have 2 drop areas inside repeating groups, specifically inside the cells.
Okay.
And so if there is no content within a repeating group, then that cell will obviously disappear, and then our droppable area will also disappear.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do is trick the system into always having at least one droppable item, or at least have one item so it queries and we'll have a droppable area. The only thing that I can think of is probably just adding a droppable area that the repeating group itself is sitting on, not having a droppable area inside each cell. I think that's probably a better solution.
Yes, it seems a lot like Adam's issue from last week.
Yeah, that's super true. It's the season of drag and drop, though, I'll tell you.
Drag and drop. Yeah.
So I'm going to do this where I have that. I'm going to send it to the back. Alexandra will hop right on over to you in just a second, I promise. It's going to be a bit different because we're searching for cart items and it asks us for a first item to put this on. So we will see in just a second what it actually does for us. I think I probably did get rid of that workflow. I did. So right now we'll just be dragging pending over to sold. Let's see what this looks like for us. Let's do a step by step, and does it give us? It doesn't. Okay, not a problem. So, well, that's probably why. So when pending copy would be sold. So when the category sold has something dropped on it, we're just going to be changing the workflow here. Same thing. Let's refresh that. What if it didn't like it? Oh, no, silly me. This needs to be, when we drag it to sold, it needs to be marked as sold, right?
Yeah.
Okay, again, don't know why it showed doing that 2 times. Very strange. But then we'll drag the second over, cool. Then we'll drag the first over. And as we can imagine, if we took the same logic here and put it here, then we'd be able to drag and drop. So
yeah,
this is how you would do it. A little weird, but I'm glad we got to experiment it around or experiment around with it.
Yeah.
But that would be the idea. You would just have different droppable areas, and then you would reference the current workflows item, and that would be whatever database tag that they have there. You would just change that. You would update it.
Yeah. So what I could understand is you have two droppable areas,
Yep.
and inside it you have repeating groups.
Yep. That's right.
And in the cell of a repeating group, you have a draggable item.
Exactly.
When you drag that and push that into another repeating group, because as it's inside the droppable area, the changes are made through the workflow, right?
Yep. Change the current workflows item on whichever drop area it's dropped on. And then inside that repeating group, we're just putting constraints. So for our repeating groups, we're only showing certain elements that have this value, sold equals yes, or sold equals no. But when I drop this draggable area over to the sold, I want to take this current workflows item, which would be whatever I'm dragging, and I want to change it to where now it is sold, or whatever tag that you're putting it into. And so, yeah, that's the idea. Now we can share this with you though, if you do want to look at it a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Sweet. Check the chat, just posted that for you. But yeah, take a look around, mess around with that, and let me know how it goes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet. Well, Alexandra, you've been waiting very patiently for us. What are we doing for you today?
Hello. I think actually, sorry. I popped in a little later, so I didn't see the full question, but I think it might be related to what you guys were just looking at. So
Cool. Okay. Yeah, it is the season.
okay, let me again find my little. Okay. I think this is it. Yep. Okay, so I'm having just an issue where, and there might be something that I need to just talk through with you guys because I don't. So I want it where the search is working, right? Hit filters and then the click buttons to bring up different hotels is working. What I want is, I've noticed that once the list is over, it just like the next button can still be clicked. So I need to see if there's something that we can do to deactivate it, or have something come up and say like, there are no more results, because like there is no visual cue for them to understand that there's no more options.
I do understand. Okay, so we're looking to eliminate the pagination button if we've paginated to the end.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's something that like, I was thinking like maybe I have to just put in a profile that's like the end profile, but something that can show up like here, because it still has, all of the spaces. So like that the spaces, if not like, don't populate if there's no other results. Does that make sense?
It does.
So like that space isn't there, and that these like hide and collapse so that they understand these are the only two. Or like when they get to the end of it, let's say it's a full page, that's it, but that there's a visual cue to have them understand that that's the end of the search.
Gotcha. So when this repeating group, let's see here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take back control here.
Mm-hmm.
So I've created what this is. This is actually, let's change this to the actual dummy page. Or the dummy data. And I'm going to have it to where we are showing their, I guess, first name. And then let's say their email, just to have some data here. So what we want to do is we only want to show this when we're on the second page, and we only want to show this when we're not on the last page.
That's not necessarily like, I know that we could probably hide that, but I want a visual cue within the repeating group.
I understand. Okay, so you're looking to have the last particular cell. Well, I suppose then there's a couple ways to approach this. I think the first thing that comes to mind immediately is like you had said, you would have a particular, I guess, data, right? You would, let's say we're searching for hotel. So in your hotel database, we would have a very last element that the picture would say you've reached the end or something of the sort, right? So it just occupy the last cell and any or throughout the entire list. I guess that is doable. So in terms of like visual element, you could also use the Toast plugin where it would pop up on screen. So you've reached your last page or something of the sort. Are you familiar with the Toast plugin?
I am not.
Toast is pretty nice. There's a couple different ones. I guess we'll download the one that has 10,000 apps currently. So we'll go and look at that one together. But let's do this. So on next, we're going to be looking for show next of a repeating group. And I wonder if we can do this where we show Toast, but we only show it. So we're probably going to have to figure out how many have been displayed based on how many we're allowing in a repeating group at a time, and based on, and then how many records exist.
And we can't do last item of the list is shown.
Let's see if we can do that. So last item, do we have a is visible or? Because this isn't a conditional on the front end, this would be. Let's do dummies last item. Yeah, we are not able to, at least easily from this menu, have it display.
Or maybe it's not empty.
We can try
Doesn't
that.
really make sense,
I-
but
I don't know, but I will go ahead and also do this. So we can test this out. Oh, and then we're also going to want to make sure that our repeating group is fixed number of cells. Cool. So next, we do have, it looks like the Toast came up. It says that it's not empty. I wonder though, will that also display if we go to previous? It does not. Now we can click next again. And it does look like our little pop-up does work. So that logic may end up working where we have,
for
but
the last, it's not empty.
yeah, however,
Makes sense because it's always going to be a list. And then it's always going to pull a complete list. So if the last one of the list is not empty, but it's showing, then
well,
that's
we'll see. I'm not super positive about this. I'm going to test something out though. So we're going to do it where we're only searching for one item in a repeating group. I'm going to, I guess I didn't need to change where I'm at now, but I changed it anyway. The idea here is that we know that it works when we click the next. We have that conditional set up, right? So if we click next, this conditional will work only when the last item is not empty. Have a good one, Tanya. Take care.
Hi, Tanya.
So we know it'll work at least on the last page as we have experimented. What happens if there's 2 pages, right? Are we triggering it every single time? So let's find out. And it does look like we're triggering it every single time. So I don't think that this method is going to work the way that we want it to. So
Let me see what was the logic that we put to pull, because we did something in order to pull. Let's see.
So we could use a when the pages number is the last page number. And so here we're specifying that the last page number based on what we have is 3. And that's going to be because we are using 3 items, 3 cart items. And then what we would do
That
is,
the amount that's on the list, or is that just by the amount?
that's how many we have on the list here. We have 3 cart items.
My challenge with that is that people will onboard, and so then I would have to go in and manually update the count.
No,
Or
no,
can
no,
it
no.
actually pull the count?
We're trying to make this as dynamic as possible.
Okay.
Because yeah, that value is definitely gonna change. So we have the repeating groups item. We're looking at the page number, and we say when the page number is equal to, in this case, the count divided by how many we allow in a cell. We'll see, because we're also given remainders, and I don't want that to. We'll figure it out. Okay, so search for item. So actually, we're gonna do an arbitrary text. Is arbitrary text. And we're doing an arbitrary text because this sort of acts like parentheses for us. So cart items count divided by, and we're allowing 1 currently. We're allowing 1 each time. That's just the way that this current repeating group is set up. But what we're saying is when this repeating group cart items page number, so this repeating group's number, is the same as 3 divided by 1. So technically 3. So when we're on the last page, that would be, we should get that notification. So we haven't gotten that notification, and now we did get that notification. It's the last one. So let's try something out here. Let's see, can we do? See if I can actually change that. Let's copy that expression and do another arbitrary text because we're crazy. So we're looking for repeating group cart items, list of cart items. Oops, we're not searching for cart items. I apologize. We're searching for the repeating groups list of cart items. Just seeing if this nesting will work or if I'm just crazy. And it turns out I'm just crazy. So we'll get rid of this secondary arbitrary text. I was just saying if we could make, and I'm sure we can, if we could make this number in which it's divisible by dynamic. What is going on?
Oh, I think it can't be empty.
Okay, so we'll need to change this number, obviously. So let's go ahead and do that. So if we go ahead and change, now we're allowing 2 each time, right? So if we say that we want this to find out, or we want this to display on the last page, we would take all of the items divided by 2. And Modulo gives us a remainder. And actually, I don't know if we need to worry about the modulo right now. Or modulo. I'm saying modulo. It's modulus. Modulo. I'm crazy. Don't listen to me. Do we want to do? I don't think we need that actually. So maybe I'm saying stuff. Now the concept should be the same though. This should be the last page. It is not. And it says that the repeating group's page number is 1.5. So obviously 2 to 1.5 isn't right. So using these numbers is a little tricky. I can see that. Let's do modulo 1. That's 5 divided by. We've divided by all of this. We go, okay, that makes sense. That's not what we want. They understand the idea, but yeah, it's a little tricky to implement. We don't want to use modulo, but we don't want it to be 0.5. So I guess we can round this. Hey, Yash, you have a great one, man. So see if we can round this up, perhaps. Let's see, how does the round work? This is date type. Lots of rounding about. We actually might want to use ceiling. Hey, we're going to figure it out. So ceiling rounds the number up to the nearest integer. Let's do ceiling. She'll round us up to the nearest whole number, which I think is a bit more appropriate for what we're trying to do. So if we do a step-by-step, now it does say that it works because we're at 2. Okay. Let's refresh this. I'm sort of jumping every which way. And I'll break this down for you so we understand what we're doing. We can also experiment and test a little bit more.
I guess the other option is just to have it. I mean, I like the toast option. I think also I want to add like a collapsing of the repeating group so that the repeating group is no longer showing as many.
So you're looking to have this here. I don't know if you can make these. Well, we can do a show partial list on last page if needed. It does give us that option. So you will be able to set a fixed number of cells and then show a partial list on the last page.
Okay, I did do that in the conditional. When this repeating group is on the last page, show partial list on the last page if needed.
Cool, yeah, and so that's definitely a method to get it to work. You can see here I'm clicking next and we're getting to the last page and that then comes up. So we have the option of using some math to show this notification as well.
So that ended up being repeating groups.
So
List.
here, yeah, let's break this down. So we're looking at this repeating group. So we only want to show this. And we could do this either in this step or on a conditional only when. In fact, I want to test that out real quick. I wonder if the functionality will be better. And we can just control Z real quick if this doesn't work the way that we want it to. Cool, I think this actually might work a little bit better where we click next. So when the condition's true that it's on its last page, that math is, so we're looking at the cart items page number. And we're saying if this page number equals,
Okay,
however
sorry, one
many,
second.
yeah, no
Do
worries.
when, so as an element, that's when, can you go to the top of the, just to see what you set up there? Yeah.
I can also share this page though with you as well if you want to hop on while I'm on it.
Yeah, can you do that?
Yeah,
Oh,
check
do
the chat
when
there.
conditional is true. So do when every time. And it was repeating group. Hotels, list of hotels. Number. See, I'm not getting number though.
Or we have to be looking at the repeating group.
So I have the repeating group. So maybe it's pages number.
Yeah, pages number, that's
Okay,
right.
pages number is, and then arbitrary.
Yep.
And then the arbitrary is do a search for. That would be hotels, I guess.
Yeah, now one of the things also though would be probably it would have the same constraints as what you currently have set up.
Okay, my challenge is it's saying in the arbitrary checks, it won't let me search for without bringing up a search.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a search for and then find whatever particular item that is.
And then hotel, and then go back to arbitrary.
Is
Item.
there a way we could do? You could probably actually. Now, let's change this up a little bit actually. So right now we're searching for those card items, but we can also look at the repeating group card items. This list should already be filtered, right? This is just taking all of the items in that repeating group already. And so if you have filters set up, this should be the way that it would work. And that's the only thing that's really changing here.
Okay, so hotels. I guess it was hotels list, but I don't know. Cart items. Yeah, it didn't have, so I guess it's hotel profiles, but that's not.
Whatever, it should be like whatever the source of the repeating group is. It should have the same name.
The repeating group is hotels filtered, but list, yeah, it should say list of hotels and it doesn't give me the option to have a list of hotels. I guess contains list. Okay. What was the other option that you had other than list?
You would just, well,
item.
Yeah, that's if you do a search for. So instead of looking at the repeating group, and we'd want to do this though instead, now that I'm thinking about it, we'd want to use the repeating group, in this case, hotel profiles or whatever it may be, because this repeating group is going to actively be filtered.
Oh, so okay, so repeating group, that's where it was. Mhm. Yeah, so the thing is,
And so we'll just take the count of that. The only thing that I'm wondering about is I'm not certain, do you on your repeating group, is it a fixed number of cells?
yeah,
Okay, then that should be fine then. I'm thinking, let me see if I have any data where I have a lot of data. Looks like users, I have, what is that, 8? I have a lot of Stripe webhooks too.
I did a pull it, but then I got stuck at arbitrary text.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We are gonna go back here for you.
Yeah,
Here we
arbitrary
are.
converted to number.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need ceiling in there?
Probably, and that's what I'm actually about to change here. So we have a lot of Stripe webhook data that I can actually use. So we have a total of 15. If I keep it at 3 each, that'll be 5. What if we do 4? We have a total of 4. We should get a weird percentage here because of this. So I want to see if we do have a weird percentage if it works still the same way. Where did all of my data go? Let's do customer. I think that's. So I'm on the last page and this didn't work. And that's because I didn't change my conditional to meet. That was at 2. So it's of course going to be showing us the wrong math. Let's try this one more time here. And it still works the same. Okay, so what I wanted to check was just whether or not if we increase the amount or did anything of the sort, if the ceiling would still be the best route to take. It is looking like the ceiling is going to be the best route to
I
take.
need to input ceiling. Okay.
Yeah, ceiling is going to round it up to it's going to round it up to the wholest integer, or to an integer, I should say. An integer already is a whole number. Let me try one last thing. If we do a total of 7. And we click that. This should be the last page. Okay, cool. Totally. Woo, it works. So take a look at that. I've just modified my repeating group. So this number here is going to be the only number that you're going to have to manually update. But if you have a fixed number of cells, you're just going to make it to where that it's going to be this number. So if I have 3 rows by 2 columns, now it's going to be a total of 6, right? So we're just taking however many are displayed at any given time. And then we're going to go into this number in our arbitrary text and change it.
Okay, ceiling converted to number. Okay. And then in the toast, can you click the toast step? Do you have any only whens or no? Because we just put it in the.
Yeah, no, my only when is just put on the when this happens. So when this condition's true.
Okay, let's see. That should be set up. Let's test it on my side.
And then also I will add a tiny bit of text down here. And this dynamic text will be current cells index, because I just want to see myself being able to flip through this repeating group. It looks like this index. Oh, I didn't realize that the index only applies to not the order of them or the item number. We should be able to change this payment ID and see some stuff act differently. Okay, cool. That's exactly what we're looking for. Just to actually see some like kind of visual changes. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just like flipping through a bunch of empty things. But yeah, cool. We did it. We figured it out. I shared that with you too. So if you have any questions, you should be able to hop in there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not picking it up on mine and it's wrapping around. So it's re-showing the same ones again. Remember how I was like, oh, we have that problem. And then we looked at it and like, it wasn't doing that at that time. Now it's doing it again.
Okay. You want to share your screen for me?
Oh, hold on. I did not preview development. I was previewing live. That might be a thing.
That may be it. Yeah.
Let me double check. Yeah, okay. And then while I have you, for some reason, it must be that it's pulling it, but my filter has like a point. No, I think I know how to fix that. If I make the slider input default value. Okay, one other question real quick. So this, so I have room block size, but it's asking me to insert a default value, but it won't let me like click to actually do that. So I don't know. And I had to like delete it before the other beta because it just wasn't working. So then it wasn't actually filtering appropriately because it keeps on giving me the error that it should be room count, but it's text, but I don't like, there's no way to set this, like the source is an option set. So, and it's a dynamic source. So it should technically do that on its own, right? Like I don't know, like, and it won't let me like fill it in
strange.
unless I delete it. And like, it won't let me click to input anything either.
That's weird. Yeah. Do you mind? So is it cool if I pull open your app and look at it? Okay, cool. I am here. So this is the room block size, correct?
Yeah. It's just called drop down for right now, but I'll rename it because I have to like literally delete it and then because it had happened before, I think like back when I started to build and I would just like delete it and I guess like redo it like with the sourcing, but now I don't understand because since it's a dynamic source, it should automatically set it because it's saying that it's text and it should be a number, I guess.
I'm going to make these static.
Can I have you
I-
share your screen? Okay. Then that way I can just kind of see what you're.
Yeah, so I've copied it. I'm looking at the second one down here. The first one is the way that it was. The second one is the one that I'm modifying. So if I do make it dynamic or static, rather, I'm given the default value, right? If we do dynamic, now I'm not given that. Current options display default value.
And the other thing I did when it was auto binding, it would change it, but then it wouldn't work. So enable auto binding to parent element. It did something weird there as well. Where
So I'm wondering what we'll do is we'll add a conditional, because this does to me very much seem like a bubble bug, where there's very little, unfortunately, we'd be able to really do. You would probably be best off with messaging bubble and saying, look at this weird bug you guys created for me. But let's see though. So we have the default value. There's a lot of different values that we have. What would you like the default value to be?
5 to 10, 5 to 15, yeah.
5 to 15. Okay, cool. So what I've done is I've said when this dropdown is visible, we're going to change this default value to 5 to 15. I think that we're still getting the error though, huh?
It might be on the, oh no, you deleted the other one. So yeah, it's like, it has to be filled in there, but then you can't.
So let's see here. So if I open up your page, I'm wondering though, like visually, does it change? And it does.
But it then doesn't filter accordingly. Like I won't be able to launch it to live. Like it changes and it won't let me because of that error.
Okay. When I copy this again, let's do this.
Because if you like do enable auto binding parent element, because that makes it no, just that click right above it.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at here.
That one. See, and then it switches it, but then I have to create a field, but then the error goes away. That was the only way that I could find for the error to go away, other than deleting it and just not using it.
And
But
you
then I
have
don't
to,
know what would be the field to modify, so I didn't.
your field, yeah, no, they're pretty interesting. Okay, so we are looking at, this is a placeholder. Let's just seeing if like I make a change there. Okay, this drop down. So for this drop down in particular, is it inside a group by any chance? It does not look like it is.
It is in that bigger group, or it should be technically.
Oh, just this big group here.
So yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna we can control Z this if it doesn't work the way we want it to. Don't want to make any changes to your application, but I do want to go ahead and put these in a group together. That's probably not the group we're looking for. There we go. Solid none. Okay. This type of content.
Room count.
So it's a room count and is okay, cool. Actually,
That's still, yeah, an option set.
I hate everything about this, but okay. So what I've done, I've gone the static, right? And I've said that my default value in static is going to be this parent group's room count display. Now there is no parent group. We're not passing in an actual data source. I just needed to be able to select room count, right? Now we'll go back to dynamic, and now our default value is probably realistically need to be converted to a number. Default value should be room count, but right now it is. Okay, well, I'm going to be honest. We've done a little bit of witchcraft here to get this to work. So it looks like based on what I'm seeing here, it does filter.
Okay.
Okay, so let's break that down what I did real quick. I put this in a group initially to have my ability to change or to select what
But
kind of
then it's-
content it was.
It's not having type of content after it's in a group either way.
So I've reset that. I was getting an error. So what I ended up doing, and honestly, this is a bubble bug. It absolutely is. We had the trick bubble, basically. So we set that group originally as that room count, right?
Mhm.
And then we had to switch it back to a static choice, because when we were given the static choice, we were then able to select the default value. We were able to select the parent group's thing. So when this parent group thing existed as a room count, we were then able to say parent group's room count display. So we've gotten rid of some of those issues, right? Now what we need to do, though, is we need to actually change this back to dynamic, because that's what it is. So since we had a value there, now it's saying, uh-oh, that's not right, right? So it's saying, what did you actually mean? And then we're able to just put in that number there, which is very silly. I'm going to be honest. You can keep this as room count, or you don't have to. Probably just for consistency, we can turn that off. We really don't need it. But
Okay.
now, cool beans. It's going to work the way that you want it to.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Very
Yeah, that's
interesting.
like I was also like trying to figure out all these things, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is like wrong, but like not developing for that long. I'm like, usually it's me, not the app.
Oh,
But I was
no,
this is
no.
really weird.
Learn to blame bubble. It makes it easier. Learn to
Yeah.
blame bubble. But cool. Yeah, I mean, we got those two squashed away for you. Anything else I could possibly help you with?
There was another quick one. Where was it? Is there a way to, so I have the search, it's searching, but let's say there is no, it's also kind of that conditional, like if the search comes up empty, I want there to be, maybe I do have to make a profile saying, that's not, like, we don't have anything on our site available like that. Click here to see similar options, and it like reset the filters so that they can. Because the challenge also with this is like a couple of things, like the default value right now is 5 to 15. So it's automatically filtering, and like we don't have any sites, any right now on our site that's 5 to 15.
One
So
of the
then
things, I mean,
people
there's
are
a
like,
couple
oh,
different ways. You could use a pop-up element, or you could use a focus group element. But what you would, I don't think that we would really be interacting a whole lot with the repeating group itself, like no visual element or record inside the repeating group, because we'd have to be able to find. I just think that like the filters and parameters we'd have to set up would be a little bit crazy. So the idea here would be do when a condition is true, right? So when the condition is true, let's do something. Reasonably, when the condition in our repeating group, the count of whatever the list is 0, we should then do something. So if we go to our workflow page and then we add a new workflow, and let's do a do when condition is true.
do when condition is true.
And we say only when. And
Every
yeah,
time.
we'll do it every time. Yep. Only when we'll go to the repeating group that we're filtering. Yep. List of hotels count is 0. So let's go ahead, and we have this cool. We have a good start. Let's go back to our design real quick, and let's draw a pop-up just for a moment here. This might not be the UI or UX that you want, but we'll be able to demonstrate what we can do with it.
Oh, if I could spell. Okay.
Cool. And then what we'll do on this is we will add a button. Let's add a button on our repeating or on our pop-up. And this button will be whatever, like show me more, show me available or something. And cool. So before we do that, well, I guess we can do that. Sure. So let's add an action.
Okay.
And let's change the repeating group source. So we should be able to,
Or here.
it is, yeah, display
I guess
data
it would
or,
be like reset inputs of the filter now.
well, no, so you see how on the repeating group at the very bottom, we have display list, show next, go to page, scroll
Oh.
entry. What we should be able to do is either the group above where we're displaying data or the display list. So we can go ahead and do any of those options, like whatever you want to accomplish here. Are we going to be
Type
displaying a new search filter? Like in that case, are we going to go ahead and have it to where if this count is 0, change the room up then to like, the next available?
I mean, really, so here's the more complex way, but that would be like the best way would be like, for example, if, just so you can see it visually, if it's not bringing any results because of this filter, it figure that like if count for this filter is 0, then reset just that one, right? Because once I reset this one, then sometimes there's some available, right? So then that way, when they click it, it resets the only filter that's like impeding options from showing up. And so it shows stuff that's still within what they've been searching for. Or like the other option is just to reset all of the filters and basically pull the whole list again. But I would want to respect like some of the filters of like price point, something like that. Like if they're pulling these, and there are options that it's pulling filtered here, because also I'm having an issue with like meeting spaces right now. It's filtering and I don't have the data set up to where it is counting meeting spaces. Like I input that before, like after the profiles were built. So when I'm pulling, I had to like delete it from it filtering because basically it would filter it and there were no options. And so people would like go in and filter and nothing would show up. So I had to actually avoid it because it automatically filters here. And I am going to put a button to where like once they fill it out, they click and it filters. But since it's on automatic, it like.
Yeah, so I think what you're trying to accomplish here is accomplishable. I just think it's going to require a bunch of workflows where you would basically look at every single thing. So you would say, let's say when we click this alternate app, let's display data in a group. Let's click group display data.
Oh, wait, where's that group display? Okay.
And then we'd select which element. So that'd be the repeating group. Or I don't know if it's, it might not be there. It might just be display list then. I don't know, it could be.
It could be just the hotel, the whole thing now.
No, we want to change the filter or like the repeating group, the data in the repeating group. So
hotel search. That's what it is.
okay, cool. If that's the one. And then the data to display would be do a search for hotels where there's availability, I suppose. Now, data display.
Oh,
I don't know if this is what we want. Let's go and instead of display data, let's display a list, right? So right now we're focusing on the group. Delete step 1.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, just go ahead and delete all of step 1.
All of it. Okay.
Yep, and then let's go click back on that. Sweet, and then
We'll
display
do
list.
Yeah, for the repeating group, that will.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. Perfect. And this would be do a search for, and then we would have, where we would add constraints. Now, this is where there is a combination. This is like my brain is thinking there's a combination of workflows. So first off, there's a couple different things that we could do. You could have available hotels that are available, have a record on them that states they're available, and that if they're not available, they're no longer available, right? So just having a yes or no, basically. And then if we do click that alternate button, we're shown just all of the hotels that are currently visible.
The thing is, it's available, like it would be a yes or no, but then that doesn't work with the filtered logic that's in the group right now. Does that make sense? Because
yeah, so we would reset
based
that.
on the filters.
Yeah, we'd have to reset those filters. So respecting the filters as they're currently set, I suppose what you could do is you could set a state on your page, several states. So every single filter would have an individualized state on the page. And my head's, I'm thinking that what we'd do is we would then, for all of our constraints, Well, how many filters will we have altogether? How many exist?
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna take away that one. 5, 6. We have 8.
So
Could
to
we just do a
me,
conditional here of when because here it's filter, right? So could there be a conditional that when dietary restrictions is empty, filters shut off?
yeah, so that would be in the workflow do when condition is true. So when this condition is true and this pop-up happens, then change this filter and then do that 8 times, if that makes any sense. So it can be accomplished. I that's the way that I would tackle it, at least for sort of like an alpha test to see if it does work, is where I have all of the conditional set up on my filter elements. And if this filter element count is 0 for all of the things we've searched for, then either reset that element or look elsewhere at a new value that would potentially make it to where the results would show. I think
So
that,
like,
yeah, so we
I would
do
look
a
like,
search
so
for,
do this is true when the hotel search.
well, so it would be on when that button clicked. So button show me alternate is clicked. So now we would display certain information in this repeating group depending on conditional. So let's go click on search for hotels. And let's add one parameter at the very least. So one of the 8 filters here, I guess, room availability, right? We could do room.
Well,
count.
because I'd say
just
additional
for-
location would be, okay, just to try it.
Yeah, just to try it. So what we're going to say is we want to display this information. We're searching for hotels where the total hotel rooms is going to be equal to, I guess, that drop down's value, right? Or greater than that drop down's value, I suppose.
They're equal or greater than.
That's less than.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
And the drop down is, I think that's it, value. Mhm.
And then convert it to number. Now it's a dash, it's a range though, so I'm not super certain how that would work.
Let me see how I have it here. No, max rooms, I guess.
I guess greater than min rooms, perhaps.
I had that, but I had to values.
It would be display, yeah. Well, the reason that I had mentioned doing greater than minimum rooms. Well, I'm going to be honest. I'm not super sure. But okay, maybe this will work. Now the condition though on this. So if we go to step 1, display list, we're only doing this when do a search for, or rather, you could look at the repeating group that currently exists. List of hotels count is 0. So what we're then going to do is change, well, we should also so we want to do this. When do we, I think this is all right, actually. Okay, let's go back to all the way on the left, do when condition is true, the top left there. It's that, yeah, and then we're going to show the repeating group. So yeah.
Oh, here.
Oh, I think we actually, is that the second workflow right next to this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one. So here we'll click to add an action, and this will be show the repeating group.
Show next repeating group.
No, we're going to go to show all elements at the very top. And we're just going to say that that pop up. And I didn't mean repeating group. I'm sorry. I meant the pop-up.
Okay. What was that? No options available.
Okay, so let's go ahead and refresh your page real quick. And so now, if there's nothing available, and now what we've done, we would have to, when we click that button to remove the,
Hide it.
yeah.
And then. Okay. But does that, my question is, does it reset all of the filters?
No, it does not.
Okay.
We haven't reset any of these actually yet, so that room block size, that value hasn't changed yet. So what we could do, we can experiment with, is go back and do our, when we click that button, we will go ahead and let's, in between step 1 and step 2, add a new action, and we're going to reset. Yeah, reset inputs. Yep. And so this is going to reset the relevant inputs. There's a chance it could reset all of them. I'm hoping it just resets the room count. So let's go ahead and see about this.
Okay, let's see if we. Oh, because those are off. Yeah, none of the other ones are working because they weren't. See, now the thing is, it's overriding the filters altogether. Because like the average room rate, it's out of the range.
Go back to your workflow. Let's go to step 1 where we're displaying a list in a repeating group hotel. No, where we just were.
Yeah.
When that button's clicked. Yep, step 1. The data source, let's go ahead and make it the same repeating group. Let's go ahead and delete it. Yeah. And now we should be able to alter the filter from here. So we're keeping the same filter, but we can further filter it and refine it by using the filter function. So it's doing the same thing where we haven't filtered it. We've just told it to look at the exact same data that we passed in. So right now it's not looking at anything. Go back to your action. And then what we're going to be doing here is at repeating group hotels, list of hotels for the data source, we're going to add a filter.
How do I add a filter?
We'll click right there and then click more. And then let's do filtered. Now we're filtering it and hoping that this changes where the new constraint, let's just stick with room size here, is greater than the minimum count.
Then try it.
Yeah, let's try this out.
So the thing actually is that we don't have that low of amount of inventory right now. All of the ones right now in the system are higher range.
Let's do greater than the maximum then. I don't know. We're also resetting. So we're filtering a filtered list is the only issue. Let's delete step 2 where we reset the relevant inputs. And then let's do it again. Because I'm thinking yeah, and that's not exactly what we're looking for. We're filtering the filtered list already to further filter it, and it's not really doing what we want.
I wanted it to kind of like reset just which is the like path we're on, but it's just not working. Of like just reset this one. I think also this is not working because since this has to have a default value, if this default value wasn't there, it would be fine.
So one of the things that I think that you could also do is set a state on your page. You could say 8 separate states, I suppose, right? Where the custom state itself is a bunch of, it's the search for a repeating group, I think. See if we can actually do that here real quick. I'm gonna see if I can. So if I go to,
I mean, because I think the logic is good, but I think it's what's hurting us is that bug here, that it has to have a default value. Because it's filtering by this automatically. So no matter what the other filters are, it's not pulling up anything within that default value.
yeah, I do
Like,
understand
if
that.
we set it to like that. See that? You know, so it's still, because it's default, even though it's resetting in the back end and technically that should work, this is keeping it from, but we need that filter.
Mm-hmm.
So the bug is creating a,
Let me ask Tanya about that. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to do. Running into some limitations with the way that it's currently working, but
because that's was the idea that I had, was just like when nothing is available, then having it reset the filters, which works, right? And then that would just reset them and it'd be fine. The thing is, this filter can't be reset because, and I don't know what what is the one that we have actually inventory in. Yeah, and if I take off, I don't want to, maybe that it can be empty. Let's see.
yeah.
Oh, wait.
Let's revisit this. I'm thinking that this is something that is a little bit more intricate than we've been led to believe, right? So we will figure out a solution for this, though. I know what you're trying to do.
Because same with like meeting spaces, the default will be 1, which will be fine. But like, for example, also with star rating, I think I'm just going to have to delete it because since it's automatically filtering from 0, there are some that it's not applicable. So since it doesn't, it's trying to count it as numbers, but then there's some that in regions it doesn't apply. It just automatically hides all the other ones.
We'll
So
figure it
then
out.
it's not
Yeah,
actually sorting. So
I understand.
just think about it. That was something that came up on the beta yesterday where I'm like, how do I?
Yeah, no, it is tricky. We'll get you an answer, though. We will get you an
Okay.
answer.
Do you think I should report that bug on the default value to Bubble?
I would, yes. They will ask for you to replicate it, though. I'm not sure if you will be able to replicate it, but yes.
Okay.
I guess we have the recording of this. This recording will be out in a couple days, so we could probably just go ahead and send them a portion of it. But I'm glad that you joined, though. I'm very glad I was able to help you out, solve those other 2 things, and we'll put some thought into getting this taken care of for you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna look at. I haven't. Do you have private office hours after this or no?
I mean, yes, we definitely do. We can work on that for you. Yeah. How much time are you gonna be spending? Because we've sort of been doing pretty dedicated after office hours here. You've been.
Yeah, I just wanted to look at the RFP stuff that you had finished that I wasn't sure what I needed to revise, so that then we can finish doing the rest of the build out. I just want to look at with you at like the next steps of what we need to do.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
And also have to start that since I have you like on the phone.
Well, what I'll do for you here, I'll spend the next like couple minutes. I will. Let's go ahead and move into after office hours, and then I'll spend some time with you here, looking at the RFPs. Just want to say to all of those that have tuned in this episode and watched us struggle, but also succeed, thank you for doing so. You know where to find us. We're moving to after office hours. Join ProNoCoders.com. That developer membership will grant you access. Until next time, have a good one.